Hello and welcome to the new video. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah and today I wanted to update you on my completed horror bingo boards. Hi, I hope you are well. I am so happy to be able to finally record because I had an acute laryngitis, which meant I could not speak for close to 2 weeks. I was not able to talk properly and my throat really hurt and I had this horrible dry cough, so I couldn't record anything. But I had this video in the works for such a long time because I actually completed my challenge, I think mid-April, and I wanted to record it. I wanted to close this bingo board. I'm sure you heard about it, but if you haven't seen the initial video, I will link in the description box below a original video created by Sarah from Wicked Reading, where she created this horror bingo challenge. There's still time to complete your bingo board, horror bingo board, as this challenge runs up to the end of either September or October, so you still have time if you wanted to join, if you haven't heard about it before. But from my side, first of all, I just wanted to thank Sarah for such an amazing bingo board. I had so much fun reading these books. I've never seen a horror bingo board, so I'm really happy that she created these boards, these challenges, and I am looking forward to the next ones because I know that she is working on the next bingo board. So I'm really looking forward to this, and it was very motivating. I've always been a person that likes a challenge. I am a completionist, you might say. I like to complete challenges, I like to get badges, I like to, I don't know, I just like tick boxes and I love lists. So her bingo board was right up my alley. This whole challenge was divided into two modes. There was an easy mode and there was a hard mode, and of course I had to go and complete both of them. So let's start with the easy mode. You should be seeing the state of my bingo board in, I think, back in February when I last updated you, and I keep looking to the side because I can see it on my PC screen. I have 3, 6, 8 books missing on this bingo board, and I have completed this one, and I will tell you which books I have used for which prop. The first empty box is The End Times Are Near, and for this one I have read Zombies, A Record of the Year of Infection, Field Notes by Dr. Robert Twombly. And this is by Don Roth and Chris Lane, the illustrator. It was a book that I had from Libby. It was an ebook. I read it as an ebook, and it was quite interesting because it described the minutes just before, or the times just before the infection started, and it was said from the point of view of a person that's hiding from the zombies, and in the form of kind of like a diary. And I really enjoyed the way it finished. I rated this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. Then we have translated work, and for this I have read PTSD Radio volumes 1 to 6 by Masaki Nakayama, and it is a graphic novel. I actually enjoyed them. The first one I think enjoyed the most, the first bind up of volume 1 and 2, because it was something new, and overall in the whole all 6 volumes I really liked the creepy illustrations, and I think I rated them like 5, 4 and 3 stars, something like this. But I had a really good time reading them and also looking at the illustrations. And then I have Cover Pick, and for this I've read Playground by Aaron Beauregard, and that was an extreme horror, and I picked it up because I thought the cover was quite cool. There was children involved. So if you don't like children violence, I advise you do not read that book, because it was quite gory, it was violent and it was brutal. But yeah, definitely a very interesting cover. And then the next square that I have is a BIPOC author, and for this I have read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I rated this book 2 stars. I didn't really like it. I just found it a little bit too slow for my liking, but regardless of that fact, it blanked out my square, which I'm very happy about. Then we have Cryptid, and for this I have read The Fisherman by John Langdon, and again I didn't really enjoy this cosmic horror. This book was divided in 3 parts, and the part 1, when we met both our main characters and we were all finding out about their story, was very interesting. Part 2, when we were learning about the legend of the place where the action of this book was happening, this was the longest part of the book, and I found it a little bit dragged out. I understand why we had to go through this. I understand why we had to go through this, but still it was a little bit too much for me. And the 3rd part, I just found it completely bonkers. I didn't understand it, and overall I think I rated this book 2 stars. Then we have multiple POV, and for this I have read How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And I know when you first look into a book you can't really see a very significant division between different points of views, but I decided to use this book for this prompt because there is a couple of chapters that are told from the point of view of the brother of our main character, and hence I think that makes it a multiple point of view situation. I actually really enjoyed this book. I rated it 5 stars. It's got this very 80s horror movie vibe with, you know, when you think like Chucky and all that stuff, Annabelle, it kind of gets the same vibe with puppets and dolls and things coming to life, and I actually really enjoyed that one. That was a 5-star read for me. Then we have a short story collection, and because this is an easy mode, it didn't matter how many stories you have to read. In the hard mode you have to read more than 12 or more than 13. In this one it didn't matter, and for this I have read The Haunting Season, and it was a collection of short stories, gothic horror short stories by British authors. There was, I think, Laura Purcell, Bridget Collins, Elizabeth McNeil, and all of them, they were quite very atmospheric, and I really enjoyed them, especially a couple of stories. And one that comes to mind, there was the story about the witch. I think it was called The Cradle, and that was a fun read. I highly recommend this one. Then the last book on this easy mode bingo board is a TBR veteran, and for this I have read The Second Sister by Claire Kendall, and honestly I can't remember much about this book. I think there was something about a missing sister, and I think I used this book because technically this is a thriller, but I decided to use it because when Sarah first recorded her video, she said if horror is mentioned in any of the tags in Goodreads, you are allowed to use it. And yeah, so I kind of went with that. That was a book that I had on my shelves for the longest time ever, and I was so happy that I could actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So yeah, that's the easy mode board. I'm quite happy with the look of this board, and now let's move on to the hard mode. So right now you should be seeing my hard mode bingo board from February this year, when I posted my latest update, and it seems I only had 5 unfulfilled prompts on this board. So let's start with the first one, which is Woods Wilderness. For this I have read Wilder Girls by Rory Power, and I actually really enjoyed it. I think the cover was also so stunning, and this is the action of this book is happening on this island where there is a boarding school for girls, and something happens, and there's some sort of like a virus that's affecting the people and the nature on this island. And I actually really enjoyed this one. I think I rated this book 5 stars. Then I have the Reaper Read, and in the hard mode, so Reaper Read is anything to do with grief or death, but in the hard mode death has to be personified, and I think I struggled the most with this book, with finding the correct book for this prompt. I know some people were reading Belladonna, and even though I had this book on my shelves, I saw that book as more of a fantasy than a horror. And then lo and behold, a book popped up on Reddit. Someone recommended it on Reddit, and it was a KU book, and at that time I had KU, so I went ahead and I read it, and I absolutely love this book. It was so cool. The concept of this book was so cool. It was vampires and zombies and humans, and there was also Grim Reaper, who was personified, and our main character, the woman, was actually on this kind of like a journey with the Grim Reaper, and they were talking about death and about different things, and then come across other people. They come across another person and also a robot, and you know, all this time they're being chased by vampires. I think this was such a good book, and well, I didn't mention the title, was I? It's called The Company of Death. I actually found the author on YouTube, and I left a comment and I said that I really loved her book, and I'm honestly waiting for book 2. And if that ever comes out, I'm not sure if it will, because it's been a while since that book was published, but if it ever comes out, I'll definitely be reading that one, because I had so much fun with The Company of Death, reading The Company of Death. Then we have again BIPOC author, and for this I have read The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, and that I rated 5 stars. Very moving book. It is set in the 50s in Florida, and we follow a story of this boy that as punishment was sent to this school, the reformatory. It's kind of like a juvenile institution, and Robbie goes to this school, and he is a sensitive person. He can see ghosts and he can feel ghosts, and he basically, following his story, find out what bad things happened in that school. So yeah, highly recommend that book. Definitely worth a read. Then we have A Scene on Big Screen, and for this I have read Scott Smith The Ruins, and that was so much fun. It was about this group of people on holiday in Mexico, and one of the friends gone into the jungle to join this archaeological dig, and they follow him there, and then they get tangled up in a very sticky situation that involves nature and plants, and that was just so much fun. So I rated this book 3 stars, and the reason I rated this book 3 stars is because I found it a little bit too slow for my liking in certain places, and yeah, but I enjoyed the exploration of human character in this book. What are we willing to do when we are pushed to extremes? And yeah, it was quite interesting. I am yet to see the movie. I think I had a movie lined up, but I just never got to watching it, so maybe one of those days I will. And then we have the last book and the last prompt, Out of Your Comfort Zone. And hard mode, I think it has to be a book by the author that you've read in the past. And for this, I chose to read The Rats by James Herbert. James Herbert is the author that I've read before. I especially enjoyed his Detective Ash series. Is like a trilogy, I think, about haunted houses and stuff like that, and so I enjoyed that one. And I've read The Rats, and I use this book as out of my comfort zone, because not only this book was published, I think, in the 70s, I come to realize some of them are quite outdated, and they don't read like modern books and modern horror. And I think I only rated this book 2 stars. But the other reason that I use this for out of my comfort zone is because of the topic of this book, and it's rats. I absolutely despise rats. I hate rats. I don't even want to think about rats. So reading about rats and imagining all this in my head is definitely something that will take me out of my comfort zone. I don't necessarily want to read about rats. So I used this book, I read this book. I think I rated this book 2 stars. It was not something that I will read. It's a trilogy, and it's a trilogy that I will not continue reading. I stopped on this book 1, and I'm quite happy about that. I've read The Rats. this legendary book that everybody is talking about, one of the, you can say classics already. I've read it, I've done it, I can just tick it off my list and forget about the rest of these books in the trilogy. So that's it. These are my 2 horror bingo boards. I am so happy that I've managed to complete this challenge, and so quickly as well, because that's supposed to run until, like I said, end of September or end of October, something like that, and I've managed to do it in I don't know how many months. But yeah, I think I read the last book for my prompts on the 17th. I have a date here, 17th of April. This is where I finished, where I completed both bingo boards, so I'm very happy about that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you are still reading books for this bingo challenge, I hope that maybe the books that I have read will help you fill some of the spaces as well, because I know some of them were a little bit harder to fill than the others. So yeah, that's that. I'm looking forward to autumn, where Sarah will hopefully provide us with another horror bingo, and yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and if you are taking a part in this challenge, and also don't forget to subscribe because it really helps me out. And for now, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.